Back again, game number 6. Ooh.
6.
Number 6. And hello, everybody. David Burrows here from the Video Show Network. Of course, my friend, as always, Jay Peckham, joining me here tonight. And speaking of back,
yes,
Anthony Salinitri.
Wow, we like that.
In the starting lineup.
Yeah.
So that is exciting, and off with an injury for several games.
Yeah, for too many games, I think. Salinitri, I've always loved this guy. He brings a real energy to, he's involved in a lot of plays and stuff. And I think it was noticeable when we missed him.
Sure. We saw him standing here. We were at the last game and saw him standing here. You can kind of tell he was like,
itching.
Just, and why not? I mean, you play all year, get your team here, and then
absolutely
have a seat.
Have a seat.
The playoffs.
That's gotta suck. That's just gotta suck.
Yeah, and of course, Justin Fazio, of course, will start again in between the pipes tonight. Another great.
We're going to be counting on him large tonight.
They've been playing great hockey. I mean, they're here for a reason. I mean, I know most would like to say, well, we should have had this one, should have had that one. The other night, when they were in Kitchener, of course, when we were at Brownstone, it was tough to watch.
It was disappointing. It was disappointing.
It showed that they came back, though. They were 2-1, and then
and we came back, and it was an OT gig, so you can't really fault anybody for that. It was still exciting hockey to watch, and
Gosling with a beautiful goal in there. I know he's one of your favorites.
Absolutely, one of my favorites. I just he's exciting almost every time he's on the ice, and I think that's what I look for in a hockey player, at this level. So, and then I have a bit of a soft spot because I went down to a Niagara game. And I was sitting there. I picked up my father. I love him to death. Dad lives in St. Catharines area, and we took him to the Sting game in Niagara just for the heck of it. So we picked him up and went to St. Catharines, and we were sitting there. And my dad, he's 80 years old, and he just, he doesn't really follow the Sting, so he's having me explain a little bit about. I like to fill him in, and he's interested, right? So I keep telling him about some of the players. I just happen to be talking about Sean, and I'm going like, I really like this player. He's a great, sort of gritty guy, and he works well in the corners. He makes opportunities happen. He's not afraid to shoot, and he finds the back of the net, which I like. Yeah. And this lady sitting next to me tugs me on the jersey, and she's going, "That's my son."
Oh,
and I'm like, and I'm like, wow, that's awesome, So I had a great, exactly. So I had a great conversation with Sean's mom, sitting in the stands, and he got the first goal of the night, so it was even better. It was even more exciting and stuff. And then I was explaining to my dad again about some of the other players, and I was talking about Connor Schlichting, who. I do like Connor.
We haven't really talked a lot about him.
No, but I was telling my dad about how sort of last year Connor really struggled. He had a hard time. He was just a little bit slow, a little bit behind things and stuff like that. And he ended up minus 30 on the season or something crazy number like that, right? Well, Sean's mom starts whacking me, and I'm like, what? And she goes.
That's his
apparently Connor's parents were saying, so they didn't wait for me to finish the story, because the rest of the story was, this year I think he's been a big factor, because you go from a minus 30 to a plus 25 in the off season, into the middle of this season. And what a turnaround this guy's had. He's played some really strong defensive hockey for us. I think honestly his turnaround is one of the better stories of this season. I think it's one of the reasons why we are as deep as we are, because he turned up his game, and so I explained that to Dad, and Connor's parents and I had a good chuckle about it. Well, I don't know if it saved me, but it certainly ended it well, I think.
You just never know who you're sitting around.
You got to be careful some days.
You never know who's listening. But it's honest perspective, though, right? Before you said it, I was going to say, let's talk about Connor Schlichting. We haven't really talked about him in a while, and you kind of already read my mind. It's just a complete turnaround from from where he was to where he is now.
Yeah.
And I think that comes, obviously, you can never have enough experience with something.
No,
but
for
I think
sure.
some of the players, some of the leadership changed around him from last year too. So there's always that influence.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
happening out there as well. Let's talk about Braden Guy for a little bit.
Yep.
A few games ago, got his first goal of the playoffs. It was the last home game here, I think it was. And we really hadn't seen a lot from him. I mean, he's always in there somewhere. But it was really nice to see him, as my son posted it, that Braden Guy.
That Braden Guy, yeah, exactly.
But it was nice to see him be in there and get that goal. And again, it comes back to, and we've said it all year, there's so much depth going on. But it's nice to see those guys that aren't as often mentioned in the game as well.
Yeah, and a big part of that is, I mean, clearly there are some key lineups that tend to get, sort of more ice time than others. And
well, that's a factor for sure.
And absolutely. So there are some guys you just don't get to see enough of. So when they do come on, the pressure is there to really provide some performance, because that's what earns them more ice time down the road. And so it's always great to see some of these younger guys that are not getting a lot of play time. They get a little bit and do something with that opportunity.
Right. They take the opportunity and seize it and go, okay, I'm here.
Absolutely.
And especially during playoffs, but there's some eyes around the room that are watching.
Yeah, absolutely.
That might be interested at some point. I mean, everybody who's here to play in the OHL has a reason for being here, whether it's to continue on in a hockey career or to assist with schooling or whatever that looks like.
Yeah, and
they're in the game, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, it's very true that the OHL is the #1 development league right now for NHL players. I mean, more players for the NHL come out of the OHL than any other league, and that says something about the caliber of hockey that we will tend to be seeing here. And I love that. That's. I think that's why I really honestly prefer watching this to NHL. One, it's a smaller venue. You are closer to the action, and that's and on top of that, I mean, these guys are still playing mostly because they love the game. They're looking forward to that future.
Their young passion is in them.
Absolutely.
To get out there and show off, or maybe show off's not the word. Maybe a little bit of show off.
So I think you'll see, that high caliber of hockey in this league that you maybe lose a little bit once these guys get their $1 million paychecks.
Right. Well, I think one of the big learning factors in being a part of anywhere in the OHL that I've seen is the community side of things as well. They're
100%.
Beyond the hockey, so to speak, especially at least I know in our community, and I know that's a part of being a part of the team. They're very active in the community. I know many times this year the players were out at Boston Pizza, serving the food, and they come to Lambton Mall on a regular basis for signings, etc. And they're just out in the community. And even though many of them are not originally from this community, myself as a community person, it's nice to see them, maybe take back from our community to their community, to their homes, and say, hey, I learned this about Sarnia, and share those experiences that maybe help their community that they're from us.
And I agree, and I think it's great. I mean, you see the really special moments are those moments where, years later in their NHL careers, and they're still looking back on Sarnia and their time here so fondly, even
their billet home,
and their billet home, and how that's become very much family, because those people that take a young hockey player into their homes throughout the season, these are unsung heroes. Let me tell you, because it's a huge commitment,
especially if you already have your own.
Absolutely.
Right?
And I think that's one of those things. You don't. That's that team behind the team.
Right.
Because they provide that family environment, and I know they never forget their billet homes and stuff.
Stamkos still comes home to his
absolutely
his family and
100%, and he
celebrates birthdays and all
he mentioned it very fondly when he was here. We were celebrating him, and he looks back at Sarnia almost as a second home, and which is terrific. I think it really does speak a lot about the amount of community involvement that that the Sting organization and the players have invested in our, around in Sarnia.
And I think the players learn as well. Again, observing behind the scenes, their impact that they have on the community as well, and individuals. I give an example. Jordan Kairu, a great example. I was able to have him meet my future cousin. She's getting married, and it was just like, you'd almost think like you gave her the golden ticket to the Willy Wonka factory.
Yeah, yeah.
And then, I ran into Darian Hatcher and some of the other coaching staff after that fact, and I said, it's so important for these young players to realize the impact that they do have on one person and an entire community just by their presence and their participation. And that's something that they learn as well.
Well, and you're absolutely right. I mean, and look around. I mean, the number of kids, in the crowd and these guys, they're looking up to these hockey players. They understand what the future might hold for some of these guys. And and
heroes and mentors.
Exactly, heroes and mentors. These guys are heroes in our community, and I fully support that. I mean, I'm a 53-year-old guy, and I look at
You're not
these.
53.
Sure, I am. I'm looking at these 16 and to 20-year-old guys, and these are heroes.
My age depends on what time of day it is and where I am.
Oh, look at you go! I'm a big fan of not lying.
Well, it's true.
I look at it as an achievement. I made it to 53. I actually made it here. So I'm going to celebrate all of that.
I wanted to compliment you too, by the way. You love your hairdo today. You cleaned yourself up.
Yeah, well, in support of the Sting, I decided to go blonde.
You thought if you changed it, maybe some things would change?
100%. It's hard for me to yell at the Sting for being lazy.
Look at that 50-50. It's already almost $4,700.
Which is
I did hear in Kitchener it was like $19,000.
That just might fund my Europe trip for next year.
Hey, that could get you to a couple of the arenas you haven't been to.
100%. 100%.
You could probably even take a friend.
I might. You never know. My wife's my best friend.
Speaking of which, I did. And I ran into Kip and Denise today.
Oh, did you? Nice. Okay.
So I said you appreciated their
television
and Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Did you catch Kip's video this morning from the?
Oh no.
So Kip posted on Facebook this morning a video. He went out, got into his van, rolled the window down, and there was still that layer of glass.
I had that in my car too.
He videotaped himself busting through that. It totally worth it.
I almost did the same thing. I had to go to Lambton Mall today. The construction is on for
sure.
Big Shepherd, and I was like, "Whoa!" And some people drove further. Mayor Bill Woodward
it was kind of crazy
too, so he had a bit of a drive.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Denise was saying that they should have come to Brownstones instead.
Well, they should have, absolutely.
Speaking of Brownstones, for those of you who might have missed it, we were at Brownstones Sunday night for the Kitchener, for the away game in Kitchener, and we did our own kind of commentary of the game. Well, Jay did most of the talking. I typically don't. I just let him make me look.
I'm having a heart attack from that surprise.
They fed us and looked after us. That was
awesome.
So
great night.
The deal is, when we win today,
yes,
of course that will take us to game number
7.
They've already invited us back on Tuesday night,
which is outstanding.
Yep. So when the Sting win tonight, we'll be down at Brownstones, and I haven't even told you this yet. We will likely have some really cool Sting stuff to give away.
Oh, outstanding!
And I'm just going to say,
get it before I do.
It might include something to do with round 3 playoffs.
Oh.
Right?
Outstanding.
So, but you'll have to come down to Brownstones. At least watch, but come on down to Brownstones.
Yeah.
Get a reservation, because it started to get pretty full.
It got really busy quite a bit last night, absolutely.
So that's where we plan to be. I booked it in my calendar.
Look at you.
We're going no matter what.
We're going
Tuesday
no matter
what. We're going to set it all
100%.
up. And if we have to make up our own other show,
perfect.
We'll do the other game or whatever.
You got me. I'm in.
Well, I know it's easy for you because you just want to be in front of the
I show up, talk for free meal. It's all good.
Yeah, it's good. And I haven't really said it yet, but I was hoping he would be here But he had to be somewhere else. So I want to say thanks to my son Jason for when he is here. He's been
Absolutely.
running the camera and everything, and he's been putting up with Dad.
Done a great job.
When Dad's grumpy trying to get things started, he knows how to handle me. But he's been doing all the social media here and everything. Of course, as a dad, I'm really proud of him. But see, we're missing him right now. We don't have the light. But
I know.
So
we need that brightness coming on because
this. And again, I look around. I see a lot of familiar faces, but I'm seeing a lot of new faces again. Or maybe I just setting the mood. Maybe just wasn't paying attention last time. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, we're about 13 minutes. Look at that. It's already up over $5,000 now. And I just said that like 30 seconds ago. Well, it's great.
It was just over 12,000 the other night. So, I mean, it's crazy. Like, come down here just for the 50-50. I mean, holy snap it.
Well, wherever you're watching this from, take the time to share this video, if you would, around so you can help get us some more attention. Because we need more attention.
Yeah, for sure. That's why I do it.
We need, my wife says I'm a mic. Well, I can't say that.
Yes, exactly.
And we should thank our wives, really, too.
Absolutely.
Well, your wife, when I see her up in the suites once in a while, she explains to me how hard it is to live with you.
It's you know what, and I got to thank her for even more than that because the truth of the matter is that when we first started coming, well, not first started, but my wife realized that she needed to have something to do because I was busy going to Sting games a lot, right?
So she got a job here.
So she got a job here, and then there was for a few years there was a point where not only did my wife but all my children worked here.
Oh yeah, right.
At one point too, so they all worked while I was busy watching Sting games. So I have to thank my family, to the nth degree for allowing me to play while they're busy working. Yeah. So.
We couldn't do it without our wives.
No, 100%. Sure. Catherine, I love you.
Yeah. Aw, that's nice.
Yeah.
Jennifer, I kind of like you too.
I heard that. It's not just a rumor.
Well, she does more than put up with me. She's actually, I do karaoke Sunday afternoons.
Yep.
And she's running that so that I can be here. So good for that. Okay. We're about 10 minutes away. We're going to wrap things up here with Jay and myself here in a few moments. We will be back here, of course, as always. First period. We've invited Jay. We fired him for a couple of periods for a while, but we're bringing him back every period.
Woohoo!
So we'll have the fan perspective. Well, why not? I mean,
absolutely.
I've learned a lot from you this year, and I appreciate that.
Well, thank you. I've had a lot of fun myself.
And the fan perspective, and thanks to Sarnia Sting, of course, for having us here as well. All righty. Again, as I said, just under 10 minutes away from puck drop. Follow us everywhere. I got to remember to do it. See, Jason would be doing all this stuff. There you go, on the screen right there. That's where you can follow us on Twitter. Again, Anthony Salinitri back in the lineup tonight.
Looking forward to that.
Is exciting for sure. So keep following us everywhere. Everybody will be back here first period, hopefully with some positive news with game number 6 here as the Sarnia Sting take on the Kitchener Rangers, round 2 of the playoffs. Broadcasting for the Video Show Network, I'm David Burrows and my friend Jay Peckham.
Go Sting, go!